Hey guys, it's Logan Holmes. It is time for movie review. I don't remember what number. In this video, I will be reviewing Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie. Yes, I know, I'm pretty late. Tomorrow would be 2 weeks since it aired. And, because when it aired, I was on vacation. And yeah, and I was pretty busy after I got back from vacation. But, luckily, I'm back, and I'll be reviewing this. So this movie sets place after the journal, which is actually the last episode made for Hey Arnold. Even though 8 episodes still hadn't aired. So Arnold's class has been selected to go to San Lorenzo by the group Helpers of Humanity. San Lorenzo is a fictional country in Central America, and it's where Arnold's parents disappeared at, and Helpers for Humanity, that's the work that's the group that they worked for. So they have to build a humanitarian project in a week. So Arnold and Gerald, they try to build a humanitarian habitat for Monkey Man, but then everyone's like, hey, I need that, like what they use is what people need, which destroys it. So Arnold is out of luck. But Helga, however, she doesn't want to see Arnold upset, and she wants him to find his parents. So has actually been recording some. She's actually been recording some videos, so she put them all together and to make a humanitarian video, kind of. But then when the Helpers for Humanity saw it, Arnold's class of PS118, they were immediately selected to go to San Lorenzo. So then, but then Arnold's grandpa says this trip is about going, like, this is a school trip. This is not about finding your parents. But then Arnold says, well, I'd at least like to find Eduardo, the guy, his parents' best friend. So then they get to Eduardo's, I guess you could kind of say, their house, and he's not there. But then, of course, they get there to the boat, and Eduardo's on there. So they all get on there, and then Eduardo gives Arnold kind of some that help find the Corazon, which is how they get which I'll talk about later, what it is, and then what the Corazon is, and then so then they're saying, Eduardo says, we could turn around and go back to safety, or we could go on and try and find your parents. And Arnold's like, with you to protect us, why should we not try to find my parents? So they do that. And then they come across what they think is La Sombra, who is the main antagonist of this movie. And they think he's got pirates. So they're attacking, and then they go down into the rapids and say, La Sombra is crazy, but he's not crazy enough to follow us down these rapids. So they get across the rapids, and they have to go through some mud, and then some swamp, and then to get toward Eduardo's shelter. But when they get there, Eduardo says, I have an announcement to make. I am not Eduardo. And then he rips his mustache off, and he's like, I am La Sombra, and you guys are my prisoners. So then they trap them, and then and of course there's some joke about like Rhonda, like, does this dump get Wi-Fi? Yes, but I'm not giving you the password. And then Rhonda's like, you monster. And then La Sombra's like, you guessed it. Go change the password, and this time remember to write it down. And then so then like everyone's mad at Arnold after Arnold tells finding Arnold's parents was kind of a secret that he made with La Sombra when he was disguised as Eduardo. And then La Sombra says Arnold promised that he'd help me capture you guys. And then he's like, wait, and so then everyone's mad at him, but then eventually Arnold escapes with Gerald and Helga. And then they end up, and then they tell La Sombra's, I guess, kind of workers, I guess, their assistants, maybe, I think you could say, crew, that's probably the word for it. La Sombra's crew says that tells them that Arnold, Gerald, and Helga escaped. And then La Sombra's like, I wanted them to escape because that thing that La Sombra gave Arnold whenever he was disguised as Eduardo is actually a tracking device, so he could follow Arnold to find the Corazon. And the Corazon, by the way, is this translation, I guess, probably from some other language. It might not even be Spanish, even though, in real life, all the countries in Central America except for Belize speak Spanish, and then Belize they speak English in Belize, but like it could be like some kind of native language, like that the Green Eyes use. So then everyone else tries to tell um Bob and Miriam about it by using Rhonda's phone to create some kind of Wi-Fi thing and to use and to send messages to the beepers using a beeper code that to spell out SOS Bob. And while Abner falls off the ship, and then he swims back and then finds an airplane back toward Phil and Pookie's toward Phil and Pookie in their apartment. And then so they go back as well as of course Bob and Miriam, they go back too in an airplane, and then to see what all's going on. And then so when Arnold so they have to go through quite a bit, but then Arnold, Gerald, and Helga, when they get there, they find the Green Eyes, but it's all but all the Green Eyes are kids. There aren't any grown-ups there. But then they later find out that that all the grown-ups ended up getting the sleeping sickness, including Arnold's parents. So then there is where the Corazon is at. The Corazon is like is what they need to save to end up curing the sleeping sickness. So then of course they try to get the Corazon, and of course which it has the cure in there, and then the Corazon will give everyone the cure, but then La Sombra ends up following, and then it causes, I think, Gerald and Helga to hang on to like a bridge that falls off like on the other side of where the Green Eyes are at. But then eventually Arnold's safe on the other side, and then with the Corazon, and then La Sombra tries to get the Corazon. However, in La Sombra is not the chosen one, so it ends up shooting an arrow into his head, and then he ends up falling into I guess kind of a trench, I guess you could say, that's under the bridge, like falling over the cliff. That's what they call it. But then, of course, Gerald and Helga are still hanging on. But then they meet the real Eduardo, and the real Eduardo helps them up. And then Helga's like, "Wait, this isn't some phony, is it?" Tries to pull them his mustache off, and he's like, "You're welcome to climb back down." And then but then Lasombra ends up coming back up from the trench somehow, like using a rope. Like, I think that's how Lasombra got up with a rope. But then he tries to get the Corazon, and the Corazon falls over the cliff. And eventually, and then Eduardo and Lasombra get into a fight, and then Lasombra, I think, ends up having like a heart attack or something, and he ends up falling over the cliff again. I think Eduardo's, I'm sorry, I think Lasombra's dead. So then it's Lasombra who fell over the cliff. I think I may have said Eduardo by mistake, but yeah, anyway. But then if the Corazon's down there, so then they go back to and tell the Green Eyes about it, and by using a stone bridge, saying, like Eduardo says, I prefer to use the stone bridge. But then Helga uses her locket that has the picture of Arnold in it, and Helga says, this I'm not sure if will work, but we'll try. And then they end up putting the locket in there, and it works. All the Green Eyes are awake, and Arnold's parents are awake. The cure, that is. And then yeah. And what else? So then eventually Arnold wakes up like he's been asleep, and and he thinks it's a dream again. And then this was a part here where I was worried that everything that happened was just a dream. But luckily, and the apartment looks the same as always with the boarding house does. But then Arnold's parents made breakfast. So it was never a dream. That's probably, I really like that part, because man, Craig Bartlett, he's a really great guy. He made us think that everything that happened was just a dream when it wasn't. Because he gave us that shocking that kind of thing there. And yeah. So then Arnold's parents end up walking with him to school. And yeah. Alright, so that there is a great movie. Definitely deserves it. 10 out of 10. Had some humor, and then our suspense, the action, and yeah, all of that. So now, I think it's a great movie, but then there is a lot of people think it's a great movie, but then the ratings Felskybum94 did a video on this, and that the ratings were not as good as compared to a completely random episode of The Loud House that aired before this. It got better ratings, but still, I'm not taking that as a really big deal or anything, because at least they got a million views, and the views started to drop during the second hour, but it was still over a million. I'd say it was a good some good ratings, and at least I think, as compared to like Cartoon Network, like the season 7 finale, I think, of Adventure Time, where it ended up getting like less than a million views because of the lack of advertising. And yeah, I mean, but that was like last year, and of course it's Cartoon Network. We at least know Nickelodeon's better than Cartoon Network in that case. But as for the ratings, as they weren't, if people think that they weren't as good, really as good, there's still the Rocko's Modern Life movie and the Invader Zim movie. I was actually expecting higher ratings. I'd say I was expecting this to be the highest rated program in Nickelodeon history, but that didn't happen. And of course, I said it in one of my earlier videos this year, and I also said that that The Loud House was going to win the Kids' Choice Awards favorite cartoon, but that didn't happen. SpongeBob ended up winning again. So, yeah, this Nickelodeon this year really hasn't went as good as I planned. But I mean, just like I said, there's still the Rocko's Modern Life movie and the Invader Zim movie. If they can get higher ratings, then we might see some more older Nicktoons return. Like, hopefully Rugrats, that'll return, and a few others that I really enjoy. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and peace out, fans.